So this next video will be extremely short because I just simply want to simply go through Pensum A. The next video will be going through Pensum B, but for right now, let's just talk about Pensum A. And what we're going to be doing is I'm going to sort of be reminding you guys how Pensum A and Pensum B work in these two videos, and and this is the first part of the Pensum A for Chapter 3. So I'll be helping you out with that. This also means that none of your answers should be different from the ones that I give you here for these parts because of the fact that, well, I'm giving you the answers more or less for the beginning. I hope that this is helpful. So we see Kur mark something, Juliam pulsat. So what is this? What is this sentence asking of us? Well, it's asking for us to fill out this part right here, and so that means we have to figure out what the rest of the sentence is. So kur means why, then mark something. Obviously, it refers to Marcus, and then we have Juliam. So what is Juliam? So Juliam is Julia. And we can tell that Julia is in the accusative case right here because her ending is am. So am and those are accusative, which means that it is the direct object. So kur mark something, Juliam pulsat. Well, okay, so the main way we can solve this is that what are we missing here? We have a question, we have something, we don't know what this is yet. Then we have an object and we have a verb. So what we need from the sentence is a subject, a verb, and an object. So we have the object and we have the verb, but we don't have the subject, which means that it is probably Marcus, who is the subject. So how do we turn Marcus into a subject? We turn him into we add a us at the end of his right here. So on your sheet of paper, you can, if you haven't gotten it out already, feel free to do so right now. You can basically take out a pencil and paper and fill in these lines and these lines and basically in all these underlined places that I've made for you guys. You can use those to fill in the endings. So then we have, in the next sentence, we have Marcus Juli something pulsat, quia Juli something cantat. Okay, so this is obvious. We can see that the quia is here. So it's obviously answering the question of that was introduced here. So kur means why, and then quia means because. So Marcus Juli something pulsat. So let's talk about this first. As I just said, we need a subject, an object, and a verb. So we have a subject, Marcus, we can tell he's the subject because of the us ending. We have a verb, pulsat, which it's just a verb because it ends in at. So what we need is an object here. So Marcus Juli, well, we know that Julia will have to be the object. We know it's Julia rather than Julius because Julia was used right here. So Marcus Juliam. Make sure to make this into a Juliam pulsat. Marcus punches Julia. Quia Juli something cantat. So cantat is one of those intransitive verbs. It's a verb which doesn't need an object. So in this sentence, we don't actually need to have an object like we did in the previous two. We can just have a subject and a verb. So quia Juli something cantat. We have the verb, so what we need is a subject. The only other word can be Julia, so we need to make Julia into the subject, and we do that just by adding an a. Then Julia plur something, quia Marcus something pulsat. Let's talk about this right here. So this is probably plorat. Why? Because of the fact that it looks like plorat and because it's a verb. And what we're missing here is definitely is at least a verb, maybe an object, but there's no space for an object right here. There's no other word which needs it, and there's no other blank that we can fill in. So this needs, so if it's, if it's plorat, then we know that that is an intransitive word, which means that it doesn't need an object. It just needs a subject. So, Julia plorat. There we have the next answer. Now we have quia, because, Marcus something, pulsat. So pulsat is a transitive verb, which means that it needs an object. So we need a subject, an object, and a verb. So we have because Marcus. Marcus is obviously, once again, the object, the subject, because of the fact that he ends in us, and pulsat is obviously the verb because it's a verb. So what we need is a object, and since we're using the relative pronoun, that must be it, and that ends in am. So eam. Julia, mamma, Marcus something, pulsat. So now we need to fill in a blank that's a whole word. It's probably going, since this is Pensum A, it's probably not going to be a necessary vocabulary word, but rather just simply going through the same theme that we've been doing all the way up here. Namely, we have a subject, Marcus, we have a verb, pulsat, so now we need an object. And that object is me, because Julia is complaining to Mama about Marcus punching her. All right, so I will see you guys in the next video where we go through the beginning of Pensum B.